Date the 19th of April 2026. The time now is uh 9:48 p.m. Um um the personal origin. Yes. I was born in Nigeria. My granddad is a king, and so I believe to this day. And from my mother's side, and I was born to a compound setting. That's what I call it because I live in a compound. My granddad is a king, and I live in a compound. And I was 5 years old. I was 4 years old. No, I was 4 years. I was 3 years old when I realized this. No, I was 4 years old. So I was. I was four. I was four. I was in the compound. I was 4 years old, and compound is basically 1,000 times 500 square meters of land that I resided in when I was 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, so I was 9 years old, 4 to 9 years old, until I decided to come to UK for my education. I'm now 24 years old, and it's basically a new diversity person declaration of sovereignty. I am now 24 years old, and I've never lived. I've never lived life. I've never enjoyed anything in my life. And by enjoyment, I don't really mean enjoying with people, friends, and family. I don't care about these people, so-called professionals. I don't care about them. I care about me, myself, and I. I'm not disabled because I can argue I'm not disabled. That's what I would like to call the Dendrite model. So if there's freedom, if there's any kind of discouragement in my brain, I am neurodivergent, yes, but I'm not disabled. I'm 24 years old. I'm still under the Mental Health Acts of 1983 and 2025. Being classified as mentally ill is not gonna work out because I can always say no, no, no. If you can say no, what's the stop from saying yes? Well, can I make you say yes? Because that's your own words. And I look at something that comes out of your mouth and not someone else's, they can twist your origin story. But from here, I'm heading to Nigeria, end of November, Ifeco, W for West, I for Indigo, which is where I was born. And because I was born in I was born in Newi South. Not Nnewi North. I was born in Southeast Nigeria, and I remember being in a compound, being playful, happy. The kind of degree of freedom I had was gave me almost come to do everything I want because the compound allowed me to be free. I can plant food, I can eat rice, I can jump about, I can be with my grandfather, is a king, not my dad, and I can be a human being, But everything wasn't all money and money because, the ground gave you life. The ground is the soul. The soil had soul in it. And that soul was your freedom to do anything with the land you had at that time. The compound represented the freedom of dignity, respect, being on top of your land, having freedom and dignity to do, and reusability. The concept of reusing the land for more and more stuff, more and more flourishing. Doesn't want you to start a business or you run your own place, but in the UK I've never lived. The moment I realized, start with the the chain on the matter. Yes. I'm not mentally ill, guys. I can tell you that for certain. Because you never say I'm mentally ill, you gotta put more medication on me, which is not what I want. So I'm out of the own framework. So the moment you realize legal frameworks could continue reality. The moment I realized legal frameworks couldn't contain my reality, because everything is all money. Money. The fact of the matter is, they never could because it's made by other people that are neurotypical. So these people don't ask. They never ask neurodivergent people what they want and need, and that is what the problem really is. You cannot tell someone what they need and want if it doesn't come from their own mouth. It doesn't work that way. You have to understand that these things are from a neurodivergent eyes, and these things will make for certain who that person is in the long run. So you're going to control that person by telling them what they need, whether you know it or not. What are you actually doing that? One reform wasn't enough. Why wasn't OBINexus reform or OBINexus, O for Oscar, B for Bravo, I for Indigo, N for November, E for Echo, S for Ever, E for Umbrella, S for underscore reform enough at change.org, change.org. The OBINexus reform is not, I'm not born in the United Kingdom, and I don't care about the United Kingdom. I care about where I'm from, and I don't want them to poison my compound model, by colonizing the wealth from Navy and telling me politics and bureaucracy and that freedom exists in this shape or form, and I can't tell me that then this is free to control me, trying to control who I am. I am not British in any sense of the word, and that's why reforming health and social care is not wrong. We have health and re-enablement in Nigeria, and the parallel is for every framework of health and re-enablement, there's health and re-enablement, there's health and social care, there's health and no re-enablement, and there's so many ways to define what a framework is. Infinitely uncountable many ways, such that there is a way to define what a framework is by any angle, anywhere, any combination, order you can come from. And they do the same thing, they solve the same problem, or do them, but some frameworks are just better than others. So that's why reform is not enough. That's why health and re-enablement is not enough. Because I can go to Nigeria and get my health and re-enabled too, and speak with my friend and try to get therapy. The consensusship. Neurodivergent is not mental health. This is your foundation axiom. Yes, I'm neurodivergent, yes, but I'm not mentally ill because my foundation system will just get on with anything I want to do in Nigeria. It doesn't matter if I'm doing physics, calculus, or applying mathematics. I just get on with it. I just get on to do it. I don't need you to come and tell me, do you wake up in the morning to Namdi, do your foundational calculus today. Hey, Namdi, I can build an alarm to set my own minors if I want to. That's what I'm saying. I'm not disabled. I'm not disabled because in Nigeria, our neurodivergent foundation is to get on to it. We just get on to it. We just get on with it. And we just get on. Doesn't matter if I'm building a rocket. I don't call you. I don't call the carer. Hey, can you help me build my rocket today? Can you help me build my spaceship tomorrow? Can you help me? No, I find the money to pay someone to help me build that rocket to Mars if I want to build a rocket to Mars. And this referral framework assume a normal baseline you're not trying to reach. Yes, there's nothing that's normal. I'm not normal. I'm extraordinary. If neurodivergent is called extraordinary, then there's no such thing as normal in the framework, because it's extraordinary and that's above your normal line. I don't meet your goals. I meet my standards, and that is me getting on with my day. Sovereignty and self-determination, rather than requesting accommodation. Yes. I filed for Section 204.17 because I understand how legal systems work. And if I can look at business, I can run a constitution, But you can't tell me no because I've already done my declaration. If I got an opportunity to run a declaration, do you think I'd be talking to you still? No, I'm not going to use them on Section 204 on neurodivergent dangers, because if you're either a witch or a wizard, you have to find out what you have. And if you don't fit in, find out why you don't belong in the groups. And that's why I did I did just that. I found out that, if you're a witch, you gotta find out why you're a witch amongst all the other people. If you're a wizard, go and find out why you can make spells and find other wizards too and hide them. So you can bring together and form a wizard. This is called gathering of the brethren in churches, but this is basically what the foundation of belonging is. We belong together. That's Spirit of Masquerade, by the way, my poem. What OBINexus actually is. OBINexus, O for Oscar, B for Bravo, I for Indigo, represents my heart to the world, our hearts to the world, me, myself, and I. It's not a tripolar man. OBINexus, Uche, Eze, and Uche, Eze, and Obi are three people in one person, representing three separate realities of space-time continuum that can be maximized and expressed through their diaries. Me, Uche, myself, Eze, and I keep three diaries. And by keeping three diaries, we have three ways to document our three different relatives and encode one person. We are really one person, three different people in one body. And that is what we all share, but we're not disabled. We have identified our difference, and that is why OBINexus really does matter. Because we have three people. I'm tripolar. You tell me I'm bipolar. You can't tell me I'm bipolar. I know I'm tripolar. Because I once I discovered being a tripolar man in the United Kingdom that was then housed in and other sexual requirements. And my lawsuit for the European Court of Human Rights have will set me free, and I have the money to buy any house I want to do in the UK if I want to buy a house in the United Kingdom. But I don't. Or in Nigeria, when I'm going to Nigeria. Nigeria is my home. My home, where I have compound. We don't have a compound in the UK, and I don't care. I'm leaving. The Muko Boot OS, your competition model. OBINexus is the parallel. It's not a parallel constitutional framework. It is what it's meant to be for us and all here. So basically, I'm going to give people. I'm going to believe in my compounds because I'm going to make houses better in Nigeria. And by giving people compounds, I expect them to have the freedom I had as a child, and that's what OBINexus actually is. It gives them the freedom to be me, myself, and I, be themselves without being judged. People like me, people that belong together. We are the spirits of the masquerade, and the masquerade of the spirits. Because we are the spirits of the masquerade, we are the free spirits of our ancestors, the bear friends, with the spirits of our ancestors. We like masquerade. We are just physical. We're living. We're the physical essence of our ancestors. We are the bear friend war. People that have been neglected, people that have been left behind, people that have been don't want to be in society. People that we are not a cult. We are not tribes either. We are people that have been forgotten and lived by society. I'm really build a new foundation for us and therefore all of us. And therefore all of us are new. We're here now forever. There and there forever. For everywhere we go, here and now forever, there and there forever, and when forever. The muco ubiquitous occupational metaphor for non-neurotypical condition. The muco boost sequence is a non-linear, non-polar boost sequence that limits superposition, interference, and entanglement by ensuring that there is space. There's for every part there is, every shape there is, everywhere you go, there is a solution and the computer can find. Because in quantum systems, there's a solution. And for all human beings, there's every path for which we can find stability. And that's OBINexus. OBI means heart, nexus means connection. Our hearts to the world, our souls to the world, our connections to the world, our us to the world. The three SDKs, never a toy, never a weapon, never a problem, are ethical potential. Yes. The three SDKs for Ziggy, never a toy. Never a toy implies that it's food, water, and shelter. Give you food, water, and shelter. You don't play with your food, water, and shelter. It's basically for handling distribution of food, water, and shelter amongst us. Never weapon represents the humanitarian system for never weapon, and never problem it's never a problem to have food, water, and shelter. We are never the problem. We get food, water, and shelter where we go. The three SDKs for Nsigi, N for November, F for Sarah, I for Indigo, G for Gold, I for India, I for India, represent a trilateral consensus system via OHA, which is a public consensus, a public or community consensus that ensure human rights are preserved at all times via all dignity and respect. The Equity Act as a legislative authority. So, the Legal Equity Act is a liquidation system for financial debt, for corruption. So we can have food, water, and shelter, and amongst ourselves, while the system represents. By representing, by liquidating GBD, Nigeria, so we can have our own native currency via anti-corruption model, anti-corruption actors, which is basically a motion of anti-corruption. How the technical legal bridge, how habeas compass. How 8B compass space state maps to governance. An AD compass is so think about this one bit is one information, 2 bits is a recurrent is a basically if we all share a develop we all share 2 bits of information, one information, one for recovery. You can share that a divided by 2 is 4. We have 4 states at any one time. Enable. No. If 4 people share, if 8 divided by 4, 2 bytes, that will not be enough. So you have to share 3. So 8 divided by 8 divided by 8 divided by. So basically, it goes to have 1 byte for information, another byte for data, another byte for parity. Your third byte is the third bit. So 3 bits represent a parity bit. So 001 is the valid condition of a probability. But you can also swap your variable out to give it to someone else for consensus modeling. So the 8-bit qubit ring compass of a quantum computer represents a parity system that you can give my 1 equals your 0 for any computational hardware via a state encoding. And a state encoding ensures that by sending off or giving one the parity bit at any time, ensures you have a representation of the system internally via the 2-qubit system, 1 and a 0. So we have 3 bits. We have 3 bits in total, ensuring that 3 bits, which is not nibble, can resolve to what's 3 bits called? A tri-bit. A nibble is 4 bits. A byte is a byte is 8 bits. 1 bit, 2. I don't know. A nibble is 4. That's what I know. But 3 bits represents a system of where you're trying to swap out more information for you, more space, and one address you can swap out for error correction via parity system. Like giving a system information to recover more information of identity crisis of a system via information for biological informatics. The legitimate system is to record and malpractice, doesn't matter what the money comes into. When something starts to slip out of your control and you don't know where your money is being ported from, you get corruption. Doesn't matter how much rules and policies you have there, you have to be able to solve corruptions too. So the Wu Equity Act is for handling corruption, and corruption is a big part of the ecosystem itself. Why was some interdependency between Lua node and matter structurally? Yeah. Wait. Why WebAssembly matters structurally? Because it's assembly components. Think of them as Lua is one language, yes. Python is one language. Node is one language. The structure of a WebAssembly component is that these components can be represented as ports. These ports are representation of the same program as WebAssembly, which can be shipped to a web interface like a browser. WebAssembly interdependency matters structurally because of the portation of the system. Because you get a bytecode, it's a bytecode. Think of it as a byte, and formally as a bytecode translator. The bytecode translator is the WebAssembly module. But this is the same code that looks different but runs on the web infrastructure. So by looking at a structure, the interdependency represents different structure of the same program, different instruction set of the same program written in different languages. And this can be hard to handle when you have a polyglottic code. So if you have something written, developed as a WebAssembly artifact for application, such as MySpace, let's say OBINexus bank bank.org, and this bank.org uses a WebAssembly artifact. For polyglottic control, it's better as microservices. And these microservices are tailored to language, are ported from languages, and doesn't mean portability are ported from language, are shipped from languages. And these languages can be interdependent. So, because the local can make form, so the structure matters to make sure you have the correct command and control system operating on. What recognize would you mean? Not territory condition, but continuation. The change of order of elements, why is it necessary? What recognition would mean? Not necessarily, but what recognition would mean of OBINexus? OBINexus, what recognition would actually mean? What recognition would mean for OBINexus? Recognition will mean that we are not disabled and we are not we're not born disabled. We're not born disabled. We are, as a Nigerian, because we are trying to protect the people of my people in Igbo State. People I know, my friends and family, I know and love in Nigeria. Or so-called Biafra, they changed because I was young as them. I'm trying to protect their neurodivergent ability, so they can be classified as disabled. And because the way things are going, I believe that recognition will mean recognition of something would mean people that are from Nigeria will not be getting jabbed by any medication, and let's start from there. Jabbed by any for whatever reason, and have the dignity and liberty to do what as they please without being forced into a framework, because we are not disabled and we are born in Nigeria. Direct access to neurodivergent, you don't need to be fixed. You don't need to be fixed, guys. Neurodivergent people. I skip one. How the change of OBINexus_reform is blocked for now. Thank you for watching this video.